Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to AVX Live. I'm Joe Gilderson, President of Corporate Audio Visual Services. And I got to tell you, I'm really happy to be here. We had to take a little bit of a break. We had a crazy fall season. And so I had to take a few minutes and do some other stuff, some work. But now we're back. We're back and ready to get into it. Perfect time with the holiday season. And we have a fantastic guest for today. But before we get into that, let me just remind everybody how you find us in case you forgot over the course of time. You can find us on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube Wednesdays at 1 p.m. Look, while you're on any of those channels, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button, share it, let people know about us. If you're watching live, drop us a comment, be a part of the show. And if you do miss anything, you can always go back to our YouTube channel. This is episode 119. So there's 118 other versions, but not as good as this one. This is the one you wanted to watch. Afterwards, we're going to post some little clips. Those will go on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. My friend Alexa, she makes those little shark bites. My friend Andrew, Shark, he's good at that. But that is what we got for today. So now let's get into our guest, because this is the best part. You don't want to hear me. Let me tell you a little bit about Angie Angier. She is best known in Westchester as the founder and director of music in Chappaqua. Angie Angier based her very successful and multifaceted school on her vision that the benefits of a music education extend far beyond the music. Angie has an enterprising background, beginning with her graduation in performance with honors from the New England Conservatory of Music and continuing with engagements with the Taiwan National Symphony and the Vienna Sinfonietta, among others. But she has perhaps found her real niche as an organizer and inspirer of the many musical activities of young people, typified by her innovative and ambitious approach to programming. As Angie says, at Music in Chappaqua, we constantly adapt to the changing music landscape to support our highest vision, that our students find, hone, and speak their own voices into this world through music. Pretty cool, right? Well, listen, let's actually meet the person in charge here. Please welcome to the stage, Angie Angier.
Oh, thank you so much. It's great to be here.
And how are you today?
It's a rainy, cold day, but I'm really excited to be here. So I'm doing great. Thank you.
Now, I got to ask, is the piano a prop or does it always live there?
No, it's a real instrument and it gets used a lot. Yeah.
I guess that makes sense for someone who's run a music school for 31 years.
Oh, yeah, it's an important instrument for sure.
Well, I'm really happy. We have a mutual friend, Mike Dardano, and he has been singing your praises, pun intended, for some time now. So it's really great to have a chance to speak to you here on AVX.
He's done the exact same about you to me. So it's an honor to meet you. Thanks a lot.
Well, but those might actually be lies. That's a whole different thing. I'm just kidding. Mike doesn't lie. He has very elaborate stories, but they're real, though. They're
real, right? Yeah.
Well, I guess we'll get started.
Okay.
Why don't you tell us how you first got involved in music?
Oh my goodness. Well, I grew up in a musical family. I guess it was just always around. My mother was an organist and a choir director. Her sister was a violinist. All the cousins played. I was the youngest. So by the time I came along, the violin was gone, the viola was gone, the cello was gone, as in people were already playing them, the clarinet, the flute. So by the time I was of age to choose an instrument, I was designated the oboe. And that's how I became an oboe player, was just being the youngest.
Wow.
Yeah. It's beautiful.
So you guys kind of had your own family orchestra going.
Yeah, when we were together. Absolutely.
Wow. And so you played the oboe. You started the oboe. How old were you when you started the oboe?
So everyone played the piano, so that was sort of a given. And I don't even know how young I was when I started that, probably 5, 6. But I
Wow.
loved that. But we all had other instruments, and we probably started around the age of 13, I think I was. Um, so sort of middle school. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
And did you know right then that that was going to be your whole life, your career, and your
Absolutely not.
calling?
No, absolutely not. Uh, I knew it was difficult and I knew it was challenging. So I liked that part because I like to dig my fingers in. I like to get my hands involved and really dig into something and try to get good at it. So the instrument was very suitable for that. It took a lot to get good and to get a good sound and to get good reeds that worked well, no matter where you were playing. So, but I didn't know. I didn't know till I was about 15. And then when I was about 15, I made a decision that this was what I was going to do.
That's pretty amazing.
Aw.
That is really pretty amazing. And my understanding is you went to the New England School of Conservancy, and I'm from Boston, so I know it's a very highly regarded school.
It's it was an amazing place to study. Yeah, you were really with people who had decided from a very young age that they were going to be musicians. So it was pretty cool. Yeah.
That's excellent. Now, so you went into an orchestra at that point once you finished from school, or?
I got my first National Symphony playing job when I was still at school. I was in my junior year. So I actually left in my junior year and moved to Taipei, Taiwan, and played in their National Symphony. So that was a bit of a culture shock, but it was really amazing. And we got to play, you know, massive pieces Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and matinees on Sunday. So you were always performing, and it was just an incredible experience. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. I've always wondered about an orchestra because we have this little band where there's maybe 5 or 6 of us that play, and to get everybody on the same page, it's kind of an act of God to begin with. But an orchestra, how many people are in an orchestra?
Yeah, right. It can vary. So if you're playing music from the time of Beethoven, it starts getting a little bigger, like 50 members. But then when you get into late romantic music, you have often 80 players. Even at the end of Beethoven's life, like the Ninth Symphony even brought in a whole chorus. So then you have an orchestra and a chorus on stage, which is really quite something. Over 100 people all playing together. But small string orchestras can be 30, 40 people. Yeah, so they vary.
I would imagine it's kind of difficult to get people to gel together in the beginning and take some time.
It's hard to get the egos to gel together because everyone thinks they've got the right way. So there's some need to blend. You have to agree on where the pitch is. Fortunately, the oboe is the decision maker on that. They give the A to the orchestra, and everyone has to tune to your A. Because the vibration of A can be 440 in one country, but if you are in Manhattan, it's 444. They like raise the vibrations just a little, and it makes it just a little more. It's like putting a filter on a photo. It just brightens the whole thing up. So you have to be flexible within countries, and you have to coordinate within your orchestra on pitch and time.
Wow. That's really interesting. I never heard that before. So that
Yeah, maybe it's too much of a tangent, but
no.
I did have the opportunity to tour with an orchestra in Italy, and we were on an 11-month tour. So we got to know each other really, really well because you play together every day, you eat together, you're in the same hotels, and it was just like an enormous family. Like everyone was really friendly to each other and supportive of each other, and it was awesome. And they were from, I think, about 5 or 6 different countries, so you're international, lots of languages. It's just really great.
It sounds like a pretty incredible experience, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. I would think a team like a baseball team or any kind of soccer team, I'm sure they have the same sort of experience where you're on the same team, fighting for the same goal, supporting each other. Yeah, it's really.
Any specific kind of performances that stand out in your mind?
Yes, I had in Manhattan, I think my most extraordinary experience as a performer. I think I was really nervous to come to Manhattan and start playing in the big leagues. And I worked really, really, really hard to play this Mozart chamber piece. And when it came time to do it, it was almost like having an out-of-body experience or some altered experience because all the notes on the page became really big and I was really in the zone, and it was just a magical experience. So
Wow.
yeah, it was really good.
That's really cool. It's like when you hear athletes say that, they're in that zone and everything just looks bigger, and it sounds
Right.
exactly like what you're
It,
saying.
it was, and apparently, like everyone heard it. Everyone was congratulating after that show. It was so I don't know what happened, but it was great.
Wow. Yeah. Do you ever miss the stage and the performances?
No, no. It was a lot of hard work, to be
Yeah.
ready and it was a lot of practicing, a lot of hours. And um, when I stopped, I was ready to stop, and I was ready to pass it on to the next generation and try something different.
Well, it sounds like you've been doing something different for over 30 years. So that's pretty successful.
Yeah, that's true. I have, and I really love it. Absolutely love it.
So now, obviously, we're talking about music in Chappaqua, your school that you founded, and I had read that you're in your 31st year, which is fantastic. It's so hard to do going through all these different time periods.
Right?
There's some rough times during some of those those years, I'm sure.
Uh-huh.
But what was the motivation to start the school? Why did you do it to begin with?
Um, well, I didn't have a whole lot of options I hadn't gone to school for anything else. So it was really what I knew. It was what I grew up with. I I didn't know that it was going to become a school when it was starting. I was just teaching personally. I was teaching piano, and I was teaching in Chappaqua. And at that time, there wasn't a school. So I got really full really fast and got to know the clientele, and they were really talented, really smart, dedicated, hardworking, and just a pleasure to teach. So after my schedule got full, I would invite friends up from the city, and it just started like that. So it wasn't really a plan. It just happened organically.
Well, sometimes that's the best way, right?
Yeah, I think, well, for me, it worked out. So it's nice.
Yeah, we did get a couple of comments here because nobody really wants to see or hear from me. That's really the driving message. So Jeff wanted to know if he missed you playing. So
No,
we didn't have that scheduled, but
no, there's nothing like that planned for today. Just me talking.
next time, Jeff, next time we'll
Next
get
time.
her to play something.
Okay.
But so when someone's starting out in music, do you have any suggestions? Like where do they start?
Sure. Like it would vary based on age. It varies based on interest and goals, and um, where their heart lands in music, like what kinds of music they like. So there's a lot of questions that need to be asked before you can start to help anybody. So if you want to throw out a typical, or what I think would be ideal, is to start a young person on the piano, because it's just such a great visual. You can see low to high, you can see black and white keys, you can understand how one hand's playing the melody most of the time and the other one's harmonizing. So it's very helpful because it is so visual, and you make one action instead of 2 or 3 to make a sound. So it's very user friendly at the beginning. So, and it has so many wonderful benefits, not just musically, but socially, kinesthetically, like learning 2 sides of the brain are activated. So it does some really wonderful things for the brain. So I would get a young person doing that pretty early on, before 5, 6, with a lot of support at home. That's what I would recommend.
Well, we were talking beforehand, and I was saying that my daughter is just starting piano, and I just think piano is amazing. Now, I don't know if you know, but I'm actually a drummer. Of course, some don't consider the drums, like a musician. Yeah, a drummer, a musician. So those are those pesky guitarists, I think. But
yeah, and a lot of people don't understand that it's tuned. That the drum set's actually tuned. A lot of people don't know that that's part of it.
Yeah, we have a lot of jokes that go with my tuning, but that's a story for another day. But my daughter's just starting the piano, and I just think the piano is incredible.
Yeah, it can be used for all kinds of music. It's just endless. Only 12 notes, but you can do anything with them. Yeah, it's really amazing.
Wow. Very cool. Well, you touched upon some of the benefits of music, and I don't know if people necessarily think of all these different, not side effects, but all these benefits that come from learning an instrument or being a part of a musical act. I mean, I imagine you work with people of all ages, but is it mostly children that you work with?
Yes, if you're considering 18 children, it's school age. It's before they go to college, because once they've gone to college, they go off. And then some come back to the area and return to us. And some parents learn with their children, or want to play with their children. So there's some of that, but mostly school age people. Yeah.
Okay.
Elementary through high school.
And do you see music help them to kind of interact? I think one of the school age challenges, of course, is all of the phone stuff, right? So they kind of lose a little bit of that connection with other humans. Do you see any benefits from music on that side?
Endless benefits. I've seen so many generations come through, and they meet as children, they form bands, they go through high school, some go off to college as a band. They certainly stay in touch throughout college and into adulthood. I've just seen it happen nonstop. The connections that bands make and students make with their teachers, and all kinds of benefits in that way socially.
Yeah, it really is its own social circle, right? And it's funny because a person that I play with in this band, that he was playing solo, he was guitar and singing, and he brought up his old music teacher from when he was a kid, and they played together. It was really cool.
Yeah, I've seen like rock stars thank their teachers on stage, knowing that they were in the audience. It's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a camaraderie there, and we've had many different iterations of the people that we play with, and Everybody maintains contact. Some people move out of the area, something happens, but everybody maintains contact. And I still have friends as a kid that,
Oh,
we'll talk about it and stay connected from when we were 15. And we have all these running jokes because of that time frame, and it brings you back. There's an amazing connection, though.
yeah, yeah. I've heard that if you play certain music from people's childhood, even if they have Alzheimer's, it will bring them back to that time and light up all those memories clearly. So it's really beneficial.
That's kind of really interesting by itself, the way music can touch people.
Yeah, yeah,
You
all
know,
kinds.
I had a comment come in here, so I want to go to that. One, Marissa Madonia says, "How do you teach storytelling through music, and how do you inspire the next generation?" These are real hard hitting questions. I mean, normally my audience doesn't have this kind of intellect, but today it's because of you, I think.
Oh, thank you. How do you teach storytelling through music? This is a great question. There is something so special about teaching storytelling through music, and you can liken it to, let's take the alphabet, teaching a child the alphabet. If you do it just, okay, it's A, B, C, it's really hard for them to learn 26 letters, but if you put it to song, they will be able to sing it so much more quickly, and they'll remember it forever. And it's true with stories, it's true with teaching them different types of dinosaurs, but your question wasn't why, it was more how. So I'm not really that clear how, but I think you would sing, it depends on the age group, but sing and play to them. I mean, if you even take Taylor Swift, she has told the story of her life through music. And I think she has spoken to a generation who have grown up with her. So that's storytelling through music as well. What was the second part of it? Question?
The second part was, how do you inspire the next generation?
Oh, love and support, approving and telling them that they're doing a great job when they're learning, finding all the good things that they're doing while they're learning and feeding it back to them, noticing and paying attention when they learn a new thing and making them feel like little heroes. That's one of the best benefits. Is it's so telling when someone's growing as a musician, and to be able to tell the student and feeding that back to them, it's very important for their growth and their self-esteem.
Well, that makes complete sense, right? It's the same almost with anything. You want to try to get some sort of feedback, and that positivity goes a long way.
Doesn't it? Yeah.
Because it takes time, right? It's a lot of practice. You're learning new skills. It's hard, like anything in the beginning.
Yeah. You really need a good support system at home and a great teacher to learn with.
I'm curious, how did the school function during COVID?
Oof.
This podcast actually came from that time period, because from our side, all of our live events, were put on hold, of course, and we needed to stay relevant. We also needed to actually learn new software and new techniques of reaching people. And it felt like we needed to practice what we preached at the same time. So this kind of generated from that time period. But what did you do at the school?
Well, the COVID pandemic had many, many different eras at the school. So at first, when we thought it was only going to be 2 weeks, we started on Zoom, and we started teaching everybody while they were still at home, and the lessons tried to carry on as normal. But as that continued and students started to get brain drain, they were on their laptops or their devices all day at school, and then to come home or to to do their extracurricular in the same way. It was very, very hard on them. So, and the new students that we would have had starting at that time, the 4, 5, 6, 7-year-olds, they didn't come in. So there's actually a very noticeable gap on the students that would have started at the beginning of COVID at that age. As we got masks and big plastic dividers and we started to open up slowly and teach people who were brave enough to come in, and we muddled through. But it was hard, but we also learned a lot of things. Now we never have to close when it's snowy. We just go online, so the kids don't actually have to miss their lessons. And so there's been things that we've learned and carried on.
Innovations, as always, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would imagine that getting good quality sound over Zoom was hard in the beginning, because that was why we got hired every single day, because no one could reproduce sound over.
And the delay, the teachers, the delay trying to accompany, like if you had a voice lesson and you were trying to play with it, there was a lot of glitches, a lot of glitches.
But, we saw even all of the most popular bands and everything at that time. Like, they were all trying this for the first time too. And I thought that was there was a lot of really interesting collaborations because of it. People that probably never would have played together before.
Yes.
But now they could.
Yes.
It's unique.
And we had sort of recitals where people would, instead of just going up once and doing their best, they would record them. So they learned actually how to record themselves and get better and better and better, and then send the one that they were satisfied with. So the performances were actually really amazing.
An interesting time. And I know we saw, like, so most of our people have an expertise in one area, whether it's sound or video or lighting, but everyone that's here comes from the arts in some capacity.
Wow.
Whether it was theater, maybe we have people that are DJs, that most of the people played in some sort of band. One of our people was literally touring Annie as a child for 3 years. We have others that have been in commercials. It's like they're all come from that in. And I saw a lot of our people that maybe focused on sound, really getting into the recording and then adding lighting, and then they were learning more about video and cameras. So it became kind of a really interesting time for people to expand and learn new skills too.
Yeah, absolutely. Light up a whole different side of the brain and incorporate it. Really interesting.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So as far as in the school, I saw some, I think our friend Mike Dardano, who chimed in, by the way, I'm not sure, he had his sunglass person. Yeah, I'm surprised there's not just one sunglass side, but he chimed in, but he had told me that you've had a number of performances as well, that the students will go out and they have little concerts and performances. Is that, can you tell me about that?
Absolutely. Performing is a really great part of music lessons, and to work for an occasion is really motivating. So we absolutely incorporate that regularly. Our rock bands play 3 times a year to family, friends, usually in a restaurant with a stage and great lights and great sound, and they work hard for that occasion. They'll work probably 3 months, get together a set, and play it live, once in December, once in March, and once in June. And then our private lesson, we call them recitals. They happen twice a year, and each teacher would have its student body perform for their student body's family and friends. And it's a really intimate, beautiful occasion with everyone getting to be their best self up on stage. So it's a really nice event.
That's really cool. When's the next one?
Saturday. We have,
Oh, this week.
I think we have 9 of them on Saturday. So,
Whoa.
yeah. So
Well,
it's,
we're gonna have to get some more information. I'd love to come out and see one of the rock shows, especially.
oh, we did a rock show last Sunday. It was great. It was really, I
Uh,
mean, those kids killed it. It was great.
and I bet you they felt amazing when they came off stage.
Yeah, actually, I ran into one of the boys. He's probably 15, and he's been in band since he was maybe 7. And his father, it was so in the pocket, his performance. He's a keyboard player, and he was really linked up with the drummer. It was a phenomenal event. And I was talking to the dad and congratulating him at the end of the show. And then I ran into him with my daughter at the grocery store, and he had put together within 12 hours video footage of his son, like at 7, at 8, at 9, all the way through to this show, just snippets of all the shows. And he put that together and he sent it to us. He was so happy, you know. So
That's great.
it was just a lovely moment. Yeah.
Well, I get the impression that you're really connected with all the families too at this point. You know, you've seen them develop from children into young adults and then on afterwards, and that's got to feel pretty good.
It's great. You get to help them develop a whole side of themselves that they can take out into life and feel really good about. It's amazing.
I had a conversation with someone last week where they were telling me how the event season was coming to a close for them, and they were planning this vacation, that vacation. This, I said, wow, that's pretty cool. They said, well, what do you do to wind down or to relax? I'm like, I play drums.
Yeah.
Like to me that it makes everything go away. So
Yeah, that's right. I agree with you.
well, because you have to think about something in a different way, right?
Yeah.
And
And
I
you
think
have,
that frees the mind.
yeah, you have to be using it for the moment. You can't multitask and play music.
No. No, you have to be in the moment. I know I've had, you drift off a little bit sometimes, and then you're like, oh, I just missed. Like you missed your part a little bit, and you're like, oh, I gotta stay here for a minute, like.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's so good though. I love the idea of the performances because being on stage is really a different skill
It
in a
is.
lot of ways.
It is. Absolutely. There's all these other elements that you don't have in your practice room. But there's so many things that are in addition, not just the fear or the nerves, but the communication that you're now using all this information that you've studied to communicate with the audience and affect them and make them happy or make them feel, it takes it to the next level performing. So it's very great for kids to grow up learning how to do that.
Well, and then you could eliminate that first fear that everybody seems to have as adults, right? Of being in public speaking and being in front of people. And I
Yeah.
think you take a lot of that away if you've had this kind of experience on a
I think
performance.
it's rich. Yeah.
And then you have the nonverbal communication, that has to happen. I mean, I get dirty looks, but other people call it nonverbal communication.
Yeah.
It means I've done something wrong, but
I doubt it.
but I don't think you get that. I mean, I'm still trying to convince people to I love that the piano is right there and it looks like in a very focal point. I'm trying to convince people in my house that maybe I could put the drums maybe in the living room. What do you think?
Oh, you need a rock star family to love that. I don't know. Doing
I'm
your
getting a lot of pushback. Well, so what are you interested in outside of music in the school? I would imagine you probably have limited time, but what are your other interests?
What are my personal other interests?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, there's I have so many. Design, raising children, traveling, staying fit and healthy, learning about nutrition, and I love all sports. I like going out and camping and going hut to hut with my backpack on my back. I mean, skiing, backcountry
Wow.
skiing. I got a lot of interests. Gardening, flowers. I
I
don't know.
guess you do. Well, you're in the right area for all that, right? I
Right?
mean,
Yeah, it's perfect for
this
it.
this is a beautiful area for all those outdoor activities.
Yeah, it really is.
Ah, it's so cool. I'm really glad we got a chance to to talk. And I've heard so much about the school, but I haven't had a chance to get over there. And these performances sound amazing. Like I love seeing kids kind of gravitate towards that thing and the energy that comes from playing, and they
Y-
get so into it.
Yeah, we'll have to have you come in and do a master class on drums.
Oh, I'm gonna tear it up. I'm telling you. But maybe not in a good way. That's a different. We'll see. We'll see. I don't know. Who knows?
It'd be great to have you.
But I should have started reading music, like you said. That would have been the starting point. And I have actually never learned how to read music.
A lot of successful musicians haven't learned how to read music.
That foundation, though, is irreplaceable in a lot of ways, though.
It is. It is. One thing that, if I have time to tell a little anecdote,
Of
when
course.
Einstein passed, I think there was um, there was a lot of interest in his brain, and it went into scientific study of some group, and they were thinking like maybe his frontal lobe is bigger, or maybe his this hemisphere or that hemisphere, and that what they found was none of those things. They found that the synapses were open between the two hemispheres, because that's like getting a very creative idea and then also having the logistics to bring it into I don't know, into fact, or being able to implement it. And
Sure.
that's one of the things that studying music does, is it uses your creative side, and you have to use your functioning side to actually be able to implement what you're seeing or what you're reading, or how you're communicating, or your emotional. So it really incorporates and opens up the synapses, and it can really benefit all kinds of math skills, and like high-end math skills, when you start being creative, and language, and more. So I think that's one of
Wow.
the greatest benefits of studying music.
Well, I think after all these years of being involved in every aspect of music, I would consider you an expert in this area. So
Oh, thank you.
that's that's um that's really interesting. I strongly encourage everybody to check out music in Chappaqua. Check out the school, get your children involved, start them at the young. She already told you the rules to this. All you got to do is learn piano and learn how to read music, and then you'll be a success. Maybe it's
thank,
not that easy, but still.
thank you.
Well, listen, thank you again. And please let me know about when the next, the performances are. I'd love to come and see one of the rock shows. It sounds really fun.
Thanks a lot. It was great being here.
All right, Angie. Well, we're going to catch up soon, and I'm going to wrap up the show. So
Okay.
we're going to take you off stage now. Look at that. I cut her off. I'm a terrible human. See, I mistimed it's like it's like drumming in a song. I mistimed it. I mean, it's unbelievable. But listen, thank you, everybody. You guys got to check out Music in Chappaqua, and Angie is phenomenal. I mean, the things they're doing with the school are incredible. The fact they have all these performances, and you've heard about all the benefits that school age children, and that leads into adults later on. I mean, I know that I really enjoy music, and all the different varieties that exist. And it helps to open your mind up and to learn a little. But listen, we're going to wrap up. Again, I'm just going to remind everybody you can find us on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube Wednesdays at 1:00. While you're on those channels, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. And as all of our friends, we got some great comments today. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Jeff, Marissa, Mike D. Guys are all full of good comments, we'll say good comments. But look, if you miss anything, go back. You can watch it on YouTube, and afterwards, I'm sure our friend Alexis is going to put some little bits on Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook. But listen, that is all that we have for today. So we're going to wrap up, and I want to thank everybody for watching and be a part of the show. It's time for me to go. Bye-bye. Ciao, ciao.